Hi, welcome to today's episode of the Best Dog Podcast. I'm Amy,
I'm Rich.
and this is TUTU.
So last week we had our friend Aaron Hedges on the show, and he gave us some great information about CBD oil. And if you saw that episode, Amy had made the comment that she was going to start giving some of our dogs CBD oil. And we already have a story.
Yes.
I came home the other day, and we had a tree cut down a week
Last
or two
week,
ago.
we mentioned it on the show, actually.
Yeah, Tutors is going to go to sleep. So we had this tree cut down, and I was sitting on a couch. The guy had showed up about, 9:30, 10 o'clock to grind the stump into the ground. And normally all of the dogs would go absolutely bonkers. Well, a couple of them started barking and got a little rowdy, but I noticed that Ernie was sitting on the couch next to me, kind of looking out the window, but just kind of didn't care either. And I thought, Ernie, there's a guy outside. You want to get him? Nope. He kind of looked at me, laid his head down on my arm, and wanted petted. And I'm like, what is with this dog? So then I yelled for Amy. I'm like, Amy, look at this dog. He don't want to blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, well, I've been giving him CBD oil for the last 4 or 5 days. Wow.
Yeah, big difference, wasn't it?
But he wasn't. Some people think, oh, you got your dog high. Like Aaron said,
No.
they don't get high. He still plays.
Yeah.
He still runs around. He still does the poopy zooms when he goes in the backyard. He was still sitting on the couch next to me, interacting and wanted petted. And
Yeah.
he just didn't care about any of the other crap
Right.
anymore that the other dogs were
Yeah.
going crazy about. Now, you also said you'd been giving it to tutors.
Yes, I have. Now, I haven't done it today yet. I forgot, but there's no issues going
She's
on.
calm.
So she's
She's
fine
cool.
right now. But I was actually very surprised with Ernie as well because, as we mentioned last week when the tree got cut down, Ernie freaked out and peed all over. And so yesterday when they came and ground the stump up, he didn't care. He just let everybody go on about their
He
stuff.
watched him out the window, but he really, other than that.
How did he react with the other dogs barking? Was he wanting to know why they were barking?
Yeah, he kind of looked at him like, what's your problem?
Huh.
And I'm like, what is, and I started to think maybe he's not feeling well because he's not acting like old Ernie.
Yeah.
But like as Aaron said, when they get the CBD, they balance what they're normal or what they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Ernie apparently has anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, undiagnosed. We're not doctors. We're just assuming based
Right.
on what we see.
Mm-hmm.
But Ernie must have some sort of anxiety because, like you said last week, when he peed down the stairs, he peed on the floor. This dude made a 2-mile trail because he was so scared that they were out there cutting that tree down. And I think the stump grinder made more noise than the tree cutter did.
I was downstairs down here, and I actually felt like a rumble when he was grinding that.
So, but I did notice, and after we talked about that, I said, I thought Tutors was just a little less aggressive. Not a lot,
Right.
but just a little bit. But like Aaron said, it might start to work after the first 2-3 doses. It might not work for a month or 3.
Yeah.
So with Tutors, we need to just keep her on a regular regimen and see what she does. She's normally fairly calm as a dog.
Right.
Her problem is she likes to get aggressive toward the other dogs when they get excited or when they take a bone.
She's the referee.
She tries to either be the referee or the alpha, and she's the tiniest one in the house next to Boo Boo the pug, which you guys will meet next week, by the way.
Yeah.
So that got us to thinking about when we talked about the CBD oil and, ailments for your dog, I started wondering about what dogs are the most expensive dogs healthcare wise, because as you may or may not have seen, Tutors does have a small cherry eye. You can kind of see it right there.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with a cherry eye, what it is, there's a membrane. I'm going to make sure I have this right. I wrote it down. It's called a prolapsed nisotrating membrane. So basically what it is like their tear duct. They have or they call it the third eyelid. But there's basically a membrane that is supposed to be unseen. I mean, if you look at your dog's eye, you can see it has pink on the inside by their nose. And what happens is it gets inflamed and flips over. And we did go and have it fixed one time. And there's 2 options to fix it. They can either cut it off, which then you have to give them eye drops constantly so that they have those fluids because it's basically like their tear duct. So there's that option, or they will flip it back over, tuck it down, and sew it down so
Which
that
is what
it
we
doesn't
did.
come up. And that is the option we chose. And it lasted probably about a month, maybe.
If I don't think it lasted that long.
Yeah, I watched over her, and when she came home, it really didn't look any different. And then after about 24 hours, we noticed that it went away, but like I said, a couple weeks later, it popped right back out. So it's not harmful from what the vets say and all the information that we've looked up.
As long as it doesn't dry out.
Right. But
Which it doesn't.
actually it gets very mucusy. So
we clean it several times a day.
all day. But as far
Give her
as
a
we
cookie.
know, it doesn't really bother her vision at all. Of course, you're gonna have a little knot there or a little lump, so she may have a little bit of a vision issue, but it isn't harmful to her at all. It doesn't hurt her, and we are considering doing it again, but it is cosmetic surgery, which we will discuss some insurance stuff
Most
today,
healthcare
too.
companies, insurance companies, don't cover cosmetic issues.
Yeah.
So, real quick, before we move on to that, though, we do have some photos of Miss Reuters, and I do want to give you a little bit of her backstory. If you guys remember, excuse me. Ooh, air went down the wrong pipe, apparently. In week 1, when we talked about Mama had 11 babies. One of them had the cleft palate, and we named him Cliff, and he didn't make it. And this is Tutors, the other one that we mentioned, that kind of has a little bit of a misshapen nose. She has a slightly different shaped head than all the other Valley Bulldogs. And we knew right from the beginning she was the runt of the litter. She was not getting as much milk time as everybody else. So I bottle fed her, and she used to lay right here on my sternum, and I would bottle feed her, and I would rub her ears, and she would go to sleep, and we bonded, and we could tell that there was something different about her. I told Amy I thought she was going to be special needs. We thought there was going to be something wrong. We decided to pull her out of the pool of available dogs. We had a friend named Dana Rybicki who wanted her, but I didn't feel right possibly giving her a dog that may have developmental issues. So we continued to bottle feed her and do everything we could, try to get her to latch with Mama and all that good stuff. And she turned out okay. Like I said, we used to call her Fievel in the beginning because she had the little skinny body and the weird shaped head. She kind of looked like Fievel the mouse. And she's okay. I don't think she has any real issues other than the aggressiveness. She tries
Right.
to be the alpha dog.
She does have
Napoleon syndrome, whatever you
hold
want
on,
to call
lift your
it.
head, baby. If you can see,
There's
she
a good picture of it right there.
Oh,
Alex
there you
got
go.
up.
Yeah. She her nose has a little bit of deformation. The vet said that she could possibly have had like the start of the cleft palate, but she didn't actually get that.
Yeah.
But she does have one side of her nose is a little deformed, and her teeth are
her
deformed.
teeth. Yeah.
Her teeth are quite
Small.
jagged.
Yeah. They're very small, and
she
there's
still
not
has
as
like puppy teeth.
Yeah, they're not all there.
And she's only got a few teeth in the front, and they're all kind of moved around in places where they shouldn't be, and they're further back in her mouth. But she gets along just fine. She's just she's special.
So she's Grandpa's baby. She's my baby. Ernie was Alex's dog, who you met last week. And next week, you're going to meet Boo Boo, who was the very first dog that we ever had that kind of started all of this. So, but that got me to thinking about expensive dog breeds, because Valley Bulldogs are a purebred cross between an English boxer or an English bulldog and a purebred boxer.
Tutors.
So they're considered a mixed breed when we talk about the insurance stuff. They're not considered an actual breed. So I was wondering, what are some expensive breeds? On this list of the top 20 breeds, we've got St. Bernard at number 20, Lakeland Terrier at 19, Irish Wolfhound, Bedland Terrier. The English Bulldog came in at number 16. And the reason I have never owned one is because you can't get one for pretty much under $2,000.
Yeah,
that's
they're very
to
expensive.
start. And they have the breathing problems, they have the hip problems and digestive problems because they'll eat socks or anything you leave on the floor. But I love their personalities, and that's why I've always liked the English Bulldog. But they came in at number 16. Number 15 was the Portuguese Water Dog. the Saluki. Another dog that we've talked about possibly owning is the French Bulldog. That one came in at number 13. They can range anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to purchase, but then again, their vet bills, their upkeep, because of their short nose, they have the breathing problems, they will possibly have hip problems and other digestive problems. Their vet bills can get very expensive. Number 12 was the Akita. Number 11 was the Afghan Hound. Number 10 is the Pharaoh Hound. Now, despite the name, it's not an Egyptian breed. It's only because it bears a striking resemblance to the painting of the dogs found in the tombs of ancient Egypt. The Pharaoh Hound is actually a Maltese breed, and in fact, it's the national dog of Malta. The breed is called Kelb Talfek, Fennec, I'm not sure how to say that right, meaning rabbit dog, due to its proficiency for hunting rabbits. This dog's going to set you back about $7,000. Number 9 is the Doggo Argentina. This dog is known as the Argentinian Mastiff. It's large, white, ferocious dog breed meant to hunt big game such as wild boar or mountain lions. Unfortunately, they're considered one of the world's most dangerous breeds due to their fiery reputation. They are banned in several countries. Consequently, their rarity makes them costly, with the pup costing about $8,000.
Wow.
It kind of looks like Marmaduke, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's very pretty.
Number 8 is the Canadian Eskimo, not to be confused with the Husky, although they look somewhat similar. This is among the oldest and rarest dog breed in the world.
Wow.
The Thule people, Thule, introduced this working dog to North America around 1,000 years ago from Siberia. Unfortunately, diseases and reduced need for sleds continued the heavily dramatic decrease in the Canadian Eskimos' numbers. Today, they estimate that there are only around 300 purebred Canadian Eskimo dogs left. As such, it doesn't come as a surprise. This breed is going to set you back about $9,000.
Oh my goodness.
You might be wondering about the Rottweiler. Well, he comes in at number 7. Considering how many there are, however, the pedigree matters. Most Rottweilers that you see at your friend's house or down the street are actually mutts. Oh. A purebred Rottweiler from authentic German breeder will cost you almost $9,000. Number 6 is the Azwaka, which is a sight hound, which means it uses its sight instead of scent to hunt. We knew she wasn't going to stay the whole show. Like the other dogs, this dog is tremendously fast. It features a slim profile with a colossal chest and a tiny waist. This West African hound can cost up to almost $10,000 due to how rare it is, but its lifespan is 10 to 12 years. Number 5 is the Chow Chow. Now, you might remember Chow Chows. They're beautiful. They come from China, and they are one of the oldest and rarest dogs in the world, up there with the Canadian Eskimo. Chow Chow pups cost almost $11,000. However, the purchase price is just the tip of the iceberg. These dogs are also extremely expensive to maintain. Not just their grooming, but the Chow Chows are susceptible to a host of health issues such as hip and elbow dysplasia, improper thyroid function, eye intropation. Is that the cherry eye?
That could
Isn't that
be.
what you called that? And
Intropation.
the vet bills are going to add up greatly. It also doesn't help that Chow Chow is notoriously a stubborn breed, meaning they're hard to train. Moreover, these dogs have been turned over to their owners. Nonetheless, the leadership of the experienced handler, a Chow Chow makes an excellent pet or guard dog. I've been told they're not great with little children.
I've been told that too.
But then they're stubborn, so they'd be hard to train. Little kids aren't very patient. Number 4 is the Lo Chen, also known as the Little Lion Dog. He is one of the most popular toy dogs in Europe over the last 500 years. The Lo Chen is on the verge of extinction, though. In the early 70s, there were only 65 left in the world. As a result, this has become the rarest dog pure breed known to date.
That's an interesting looking dog. Now, when you said toy dog, is it like
because it's tiny,
teacup
like
or
no, it's
or
toy.
like
It's
toy
not
poodle?
teacup's really small.
Okay.
Now, this dog is going to set you back about $12,000.
Oh my God!
But it does have a lifespan of about 15 years.
Wow.
So it does live to be a little bit older.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Samoyed. This is an ancient breed from Siberia. It's named after Samoic people who bred to assist them in pulling sleds and guarding reindeer. Must be about the North Pole.
It looks very fuzzy.
They have very thick coats because of Siberia is a cold place.
Mm.
This fluffy white dog is not only expensive to maintain like the Chow Chow, but the pups are going to cost you $14,000 on average. I can't imagine spending 14. This is only number 3, by the way. They're going to get more expensive.
I can imagine spending that much on a dog if you're like a person that does show dogs.
How are you going to recoup the value on 14,000? Do they make a lot of money? I don't know. I don't know. We're regular old poor folk. We can't $14,000. That's about 4 months worth of work for me, I think. I'm not good at math, but it's got to be close. Anyway, so that was number 3 was the Samoyed. Number 2 is the Czechoslovakian wolf dog. This is Czechoslovakia's national dog, as you might be able to figure out. Yeah. However, it's incredibly rare, explaining why it's so expensive. The Czechoslovakian wolf dog, it came about in 1955 when working the German Shepherds were crossed with Carpathian wolves. The aim was to create a breed with intelligence of the German Shepherd and the pack mentality and stamina of a wolf. The Czechoslovakian wolf dog is around $50,000.
Wow.
Yep.
My God.
Let's see. You don't have to go to Czechoslovakia to acquire one, though, as they are easy to find in other places. Number 1 is another native to China or Nepal. It is the Tibetan Mastiff, which I think Alex used in his Liar Liar last week, which we're going to do that and in just a moment. If you guys have missed that, we're going to do a round of that in just a second. The Tibetan Mastiff is an ancient breed that was developed to guard flocks and households against wolves and leopards. Tibetan Mastiffs are also among the largest breeds in the world, which is why we thought, how could the Greyhound, maybe it was just a off Greyhound that just happened to be really tall, but this dog will weigh up to 160 pounds, which is about 4 mamas.
Well, no, that's not that much.
3
Mama
mamas?
weighs 65 pounds.
So 3 mamas.
Yeah, but Dexy weighs 100 pounds.
That's 2 daddies.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, these dogs might be a lot of fur. They may not be as big as. But
shave one. I'd like to see what he looks like shaved.
It says here that thanks to the Tibetan Mastiff, the regal look and the ferocious reputation is considered a status symbol in China. As a result, prices for a purebred Tibetan Mastiff pup range anywhere. You can get an off-breed for is a couple grand, but this dog can cost you as much as $1.95 million.
No way.
It says, yes, in 2014, a Chinese businessman parted with $1.95 million for a Tibetan Mastiff puppy, making that one the most expensive breed in the world. Now, I am going to assume that Tibetan Mastiff was not only had a rare bloodline, it probably had a show bloodline. It had all the makings of everything that this guy wanted, but yeah, he shelled out almost $2 million for a Tibetan Mastiff.
That's crazy. That is insane.
I don't think I'm ever going to have a retirement account that could buy a Tibetan Mastiff. That is absolutely insane.
Wow.
So before we get into the insurance stuff, we're going to have a little fun. Everybody says they are loving this portion of our show. It is called Doggone Liar, and we're going to bring in producer Alex to talk to us about this game.
All right, so on this segment, Doggone Liar, I have 3 statements for Rich and Amy, 2 of which are true and another that is a lie. I'm going to give them these statements, and they have to guess which of the statements is a lie.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
Yep.
We did this last week. You won last week, right?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yes.
The first time we did it, Rich got a point. The second time we did it, Mom got a point.
Okay.
I have yet to fool these guys. Here's hoping. All right. The first statement. The Bergamasco Shepherd has 3 coats of fur that appear to look like dreadlocks.
What?
It's a
You ever seen
Jamaican dog.
You ever seen a dog with dreadlocks?
No, but he said appears to have dreadlocks. And dreadlocks
What do you mean?
are like twists. They're not braids.
Okay.
So if a dog looks matted, it
Yeah,
might look
that-
like it has
I hope
dreadlocks.
I hope he has a picture of
What
that dog.
am I? Why do I talk to you about this? Because then I'm telling you my thoughts, and I'm not
Because
going
we're trying to beat him. The ultimate
Yeah.
goal is to make sure we
Okay,
beat him.
And you guys will
all right.
usually choose 2 different ones anyway, so.
Yes, true. Okay, what's our next one?
Your next one is that the temperature and the moisture on a dog's nose can indicate whether it is healthy or not.
Is that a wives' tale?
I don't know.
We've heard that. I've heard that forever. Like if a dog has a cold nose or if its nose is wet, then it's getting a cold. And
Yeah,
what do you mean? Yeah.
like I've heard it too.
Uh-huh. I think maybe that one's true. I think he might have screwed
I
up.
think that's false.
You think it's false?
I do.
Ooh. Okay. What's the third one?
The third one is that there is a dog breed that has 6 toes per foot.
I believe that. I don't know what it is, but I don't know why. I believe that.
6.
God, I hope he's not screwed. This is so hard.
Can you imagine how wide his foot would be if it's a big dog?
Well,
I mean, we look at puppies and go, "Wow, look at the size of his feet. He's gonna be a big dog."
yeah. So
Huh.
only one of these is false.
Yep.
So
I think it's number 2.
real quick, run through them one more time for our
Okay.
audience.
All right. The Bargomasco Shepherd has 3 coats of fur that look like dreadlocks.
All 3 of these sound true.
The temperature and moisture on a dog's nose can indicate whether or not it is healthy.
Can we phone a vet? I need a lifeline.
Yeah, we do need a lifeline.
And then the last one is that there is a dog breed with 6 toes per foot.
So you think the nose thing is a wives' tale? You think that's the fake one?
So.
I don't know. All right, so the thing of the game though is we've got a 66% chance to beat him if we pick different ones. Which one of the other 2 is wrong? I believe there's a dog breed with 6 toes, and I believe there's a dog breed that could have
Wait.
dreadlocks.
I always get confused on how the game works. Only one of them is
Only
a lie.
one
Yeah.
of them is a lie.
Okay.
And you're picking
And you
which one
think
you
it's the
is
middle
And I
one.
think it's the middle one. Do I want to stick with that?
You seemed real confident it was a lie from the
Um,
beginning. When I thought maybe it was a wives' tale, you jumped on the lie right away.
Yeah, I think it is because
You think it's a wives' tale?
yeah, a lot of times even their head. If you feel a dog's head, it's often very hot.
And a dog's
And that
temperature
doesn't mean it
normally
has a
runs at like
fever.
100 to 101
Right.
degrees,
Yeah.
where ours is 98. So
And usually, if I call the vet and tell them that I think something is wrong, the first thing they tell me to do is to make sure they have saliva and tears,
that's true.
and that their gums aren't discolored.
How many times does a vet
They
ever say,
never
touch their nose?
said touch their nose.
But a doctor will tell you to touch the baby's forehead.
Right.
A vet has never said touch the dog's nose.
Right.
You might be right.
I'm always right.
Yeah, but see, if I choose another one and I'm wrong, you go up 2-1 on me. So I've got to be careful here. I want to beat Alex, but I also want to make sure I stay on top of this. All right, so you know what? I'm going to take the chance that Alex beats us this week. I'm going to go with you because when I talked about that, the vet never says touch the dog's nose. I'm going to go with that as being a lie.
Final answers.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going with that one.
Are we very sure?
Yeah.
Wait,
No,
what
now
is he
he's-
doing? Is he trying to take us off the game or is he trying to help us? I don't know what he's doing. Oh, goodness grief. Do we have any comments? Is anybody trying to help us out? Or
Not yet, no.
No? Okay.
But Jamie Cooper does say hi. I tried to show it to you guys, but you guys
Hi,
didn't
Jamie.
notice.
Okay. If Jamie, if you're still there, do you know the answer? Do you know which one's a lie? Can you help us out?
I'm not showing that.
Oh,
comment.
come on.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, final answer. I'm going with it. I'm sticking
right.
with it.
Me too.
Okay, so the real lie
Oh, no.
is that the temperature and the moisture
Yeah,
on
we
a
got
dog's
it.
nose can indicate whether it's healthy. That is an old
All
wives' tale.
right.
I tried to word it all formally and stuff too to make it look like a fact, but yeah.
All right, so do you have a picture of this dog that has...
I do. I pulled up both of the dogs. I pulled
Okay,
Okay.
up,
cool.
here's the dreadlock dog.
That's what I thought.
I've seen that dog. That's
He
the
looks like
Bugs
he's
Bunny
mad.
dog.
Bugs Bunny.
That's Ralph, that
right.
punches the time clock.
Yeah. So apparently it does have 3 different layers in its coat,
Wow.
and all of them, it's some sort of like heating mechanism that
Yeah.
the fur mats itself and
Huh.
looks like dreads basically.
Wait, so where did you say it lives?
I have no idea where
Oh,
it lives.
okay. I can see mountains back there, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the climate is like
Maybe.
where
But
he lives.
Eastern Europe or something.
in Bugs Bunny, that dog is like pure white, and he doesn't
Yeah.
look as dreadlocked. He's just
Yeah.
real puffy. But that is the dog on Bugs Bunny. I'm gonna bet on
I
it.
really want to take a brush to that dog.
You've
Oh
been
my
either a
goodness.
I
while.
don't think you're supposed to. I think it's like they're meant to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
That fur.
probably screw him up if
Wow.
you brushed him. All right, so the dog with the 6 toes.
Yeah, he looks like he needs a
The
bath.
dog with the
I
6 toes, it is called the Norwegian Loonhound,
Okay.
A loon
and it
hound.
has a double dew claw.
Oh.
Oh.
On
Wow.
every foot, it has a double dew claw.
I wonder- what
I
is
don't
the
even
dew
know
claw?
why, really.
You know,
What's the
I've
purpose of
never
the dew
known
claw on
the
a
purpose
dog?
of the dew claw because they always, they offer you to remove it.
Yeah.
They don't say it's a must.
Which, if you guys haven't figured out, we try to teach you guys a little bit on this show, but this show's mostly just about people who love dogs and want to share the love of dogs with other people who love dogs. So, yeah, wow, interesting. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, with that being said, we're going to get to the insurance side of things because I was curious if we should get insurance for our dogs. We've got 5. Big Mama had a major surgery when she
Yes.
got pregnant unexpectedly. And we have some dogs that are getting older. Mama's had hip issues. Well,
Yeah.
we call it old hip or old butt because sometimes she'll sit a little sideways or she walks a little achy. It might just be normal, but it just looks
Yeah.
funny. It just looks like it might be a little achy. And the vets have never said anything about, well, it might be a little arthritis or anything. So I'm not exactly sure if it bothers her. It doesn't seem like it does, but
Right.
we just like to make fun of her. So you made some phone calls. You got some information.
I
on
did.
this.
So, first of all, I was curious as to how pet insurance works because I had no idea. So, I called a couple places. First, I started with calling around to different vets. I wanted to find out if there were certain ones they accepted, if they take them all, if you have to be reimbursed, or if they pay up front. I had no idea about any of it. So, my first question to the vet was, is there a schedule that you're supposed to follow with your dog? You know, like when we go to the doctor, I go every 3 months to get a med check and stuff like that, just your wellness checks.
Okay.
So the
Every
vet,
3 months, really?
yeah. Well, they used to, we're going to go off topic for a second, but, I was a pharmacy tech, and most of the time the doctors would give you a refill for a whole year. Then they changed it down to every 6 months. Then they changed it down to every 3 months. I'm not sure if that's an insurance thing, that they want you to go in more often. But, as I thought, our health insurance wants you to have wellness checks. And that way, it's preventative
Yeah,
stuff.
they pay for
And
preventative.
and they usually give you like a bonus, like I don't know, now some companies are giving you a free Fitbit if you go in for your regular wellness exams and stuff like that. So anyway, I wanted to know if there was a routine that you're supposed to follow, which, I keep all my dogs up to date on their shots and stuff like that. And that was exactly what they said, was just your annual vaccines and heartworm checks. So that's basically the regimen that you would follow.
Okay.
So then I said, okay, how many insurance companies do you take? I called, I think about 6 different veterinarians in our area. We live in Indiana. So I kind of went about 25, 30-mile radius and called a couple of different vets. And most of them said they take all of the insurance companies.
Okay.
There was one that said they don't take any. So, if you're considering it, you want to make sure that your vet's office takes insurance before you do it. If you have a vet that you are stuck with, not stuck with, but by choice, you don't want to change. So you want to make sure that your vet's office takes the insurances and maybe call them and find out what insurances they accept if you're, if you want to stick with that vet and go from there. But your first option is to call your employer. I didn't realize it when we signed up for our insurance, but Rich's employer does pet insurance. So I called around. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. So I called around and found out what companies they take. And when I did call, they gave me their top 4 that they see most often.
Okay.
And those 4 were Nationwide, Allstate, and Trupanion.
Okay. Nationwide, Allstate, Trupanion, and
Those were the 4 that they
you
said.
only named 3. What's the 4th one?
Nationwide, Allstate. Oh, I'm sorry, ASPCA.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So those were the top 4 that they said they see most often, although most of them said they did accept all of them. And what they do, I didn't realize this, but most insurance companies, you have to pay for everything up front, and then they reimburse you.
Okay.
Although some of them have copays.
I was going to say, when we kind of divvied up the thing here,
Yeah.
all I did was call some insurance companies and pull off some FAQs. So if you guys want any information on insurance, you can go to the websites of any of these companies we mentioned. And I think all of mine had free quotes right there on the website.
Yes.
And it wasn't like you had to sign up and they call you or something like that. You could put all the stuff in by yourself and just kind of get an idea of what it would cost without even getting attached to it.
Most of the ones that I tried to get, that I went online and got a quote for, you had to put your email address in, and then they send you get the quote right away.
Yeah, they do email you the quote.
But then they email you stuff and kind of check on you and say, hey, which option were you thinking about? Is there something I can help you with? That kind of stuff. But it wasn't, you didn't have to put your phone number in. They're not going to call you and push you, But one of the things that the vets told me, and I wasn't even aware that this existed, but there is a company called NAFIA. NAFIA it stands for North American Pet Health Association. And what they do is they kind of oversee the insurance companies.
Okay.
So they, make sure that it's fair and equal prices, competitive
like a Better
prices.
Business Bureau?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that is what they do. And they're also like kind of getting the word out about pet insurance, trying to get other veterinarians to get involved in it and make it like a nationwide thing that all the vets do it.
Which hopefully would bring the cost down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things they said was to try to make sure that your insurance company is a member of NAFIA.
Okay, well, I called 2 companies. You tell me how any of the people you called stack up to these 2 here. Because what I did is I went through the FAQs and got some questions and some answers, and then I actually called each company. I will say that both companies had fairly decent representatives that I talked to. I called FIGO Insurance, which is actually, I think their headquarters is in Illinois.
Okay.
And I talked to a lady named Amelia. So if you guys want to try to talk to anybody in particular, I did tell them I was doing a podcast. I did tell them that people might call them. So FIGO, F-I-G-O, Pet Insurance, that I talked to Amelia there. And at Healthy Paws, this lady was so patient, so sweet. I mean, she was a doll. All my questions, she didn't get. She's like, whatever you want to do, totally chill. But she had a cool name. Her name was Blue.
Oh,
B-L-U. That was her real name. Because
that's
I even asked her. I
interesting.
said, "How do you spell it?" Because I wanted to make sure.
right.
And she was out of the Arizona office. So if you call Healthy Paws, you want to talk to Blue from the Arizona office. If they can route you to that person, hopefully they can. So anyway, the first thing I asked was kind of like what you asked. Is it nationwide? Everybody said yes. Our insurance is accepted by any vet who accepts insurance. It covers, both of them said the same thing. It covers injuries and illnesses, not pre-existing. So both of them said, we'll cover pretty much anything that happens to your dog, but you should, one company, Healthy Paws, requires you to have an exam within the last 12 months if your dog is 6 years or younger. If your dog is older than 6 years, then you have to have a wellness check within the last 30 days. Or both of them said you have to have that done within 15 days of trying to establish a policy.
Right.
If you don't, Healthy Paws won't insure you at all. And FIGO Insurance said, well, we recommend it, but we don't mandate. It's not required. My thought is, if you guys are going to get insurance, get the wellness check. Because I'm not saying that the insurance companies are greedy or corrupt or whatever, but they are a business, and if they can save money, they're going to. And if you didn't get a wellness check and you can't prove that your dog didn't have hip dysplasia or a cherry eye or anything,
Right.
they might not cover it.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. When you're looking at the policies, some of the companies have a medical policy and a wellness policy.
Okay.
Some of them can
True.
be stacked. Some of them, for instance, nationwide, you could get the medical and you could get the wellness, or you could just get the medical.
Okay.
Depending on the state that you live in,
True.
would say whether or not you were qualified to get just wellness.
Okay. And I'm going to talk about that. It's funny you mentioned the state because both of them constantly said, make sure people know that your insurance rates are going to be different based on your zip code.
Right.
Now, I don't know why that is. Maybe insurance in California is more expensive because doctors are more expensive. Maybe it's because if you live in Arizona, there's more snakes and scorpions and things that could bite your dog. And I don't know. But it could be those things, or it could be everything just in general.
Right.
So, again, we recommend you guys go on the website, do your own check. We're just giving you some basic knowledge here is all we're trying to do.
Now, the reason that I interrupted you at the point
Okay.
that you were at was when it came to the prior
Pre-existing
yes,
condition.
pre-existing
Okay.
conditions. Thank you. Nationwide, their wellness covers dental, but the dog can't have any pre-existing plaque.
Oh.
So, you'll meet Huey, Boo Boo, next week, and he has massive dental issues. I mean, his mouth smells.
Yeah, and we've had it looked at, but the reason we haven't had the dental work done is because he's older, and the vets have told us he's a little overweight, to say it lightly, and he's older, and if
Yeah.
we had the dental work done, there's a chance he might not make it through the procedure.
Right.
So we thought it was best just to change his food and try to
Accommodate him the best
we could.
So,
Yeah, good way to explain it.
But as soon as Nationwide told me, in our wellness package, we covered dental and nail trims and everything. And, right away I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get Boo Boo in there because the dental
Yeah.
cleaning is like $200 to $300.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So, and that's just the cleaning, not having teeth removed.
No office visits,
So,
no nothing.
That was my first thought. And then he said, but they can't have any pre-existing plaque. And okay, well, that's out of the question then.
See, and
But
it's funny,
yes.
I didn't think the companies would cover wellness. And the first one I called, Healthy Paws, does not have a wellness plan.
Okay.
FIGO actually has a wellness plan. And this is where I think insurance could be beneficial because the premiums can be a little costly. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But on the wellness plan, you can get $250 annually in wellness checks, and it only costs $17 a month.
Wow.
Well, if you
That's
add
okay.
that up, that adds up to about $200 a year. But you're going to spend the $250 in the wellness checks between the exams, the vaccinations, all the wellness checks
Right,
you're going to
yeah.
do. You're going to spend $250. So you're basically saving $50
Yeah.
by buying the wellness plan. So, and this one you can stack with your regular plan. They also had another smaller $9 extended extra
Yeah.
kind of cosmetic thing, but it didn't seem like it was very
Beneficial, yeah.
beneficial money wise. So I didn't plan on telling you guys about it because you wouldn't want it because you could just take the little bit of money that out of your pocket and pay for the stuff, and it would save you money doing it that way. So anyway, deductibles was the one thing that I thought was crazy about pet insurance. It's not like your health insurance at work where you've got pick this deductible and plan or this deductible and plan.
Right.
It was based on your dog's age
Yep.
and where you live. You have a choice of deductibles after you give them that info, which could be anywhere as little as a $100 deductible all the way up to a $1,000 deductible. As far as like out of pocket, that also depended on the plan. I've got one that there's no max out of pocket. They Healthy Paws pays 90% of everything that they cover. No max. It could be if your dog's got cancer and it costs $50,000, they cover 90%. As to where FIGO actually is the only company, and I couldn't find any other. So as far as my knowledge, they are the only company that will offer a 100% coverage. And again, you can choose the deductible,
Yeah.
and you can back it down to a 70% coverage or an 80% coverage, which those were also customizable.
Yeah.
So you can really a la carte your pet insurance to fit not only your budget, because I'll be honest, your budget is the most crucial thing to this whole plan. If you don't have the money, if you have no budget and something happens to your dog, a lot of people have to put their dogs down because they can't afford to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And that's horrible
Yep.
because your dogs could live much longer if you could afford the procedure that they might need. If you have the insurance, just like with a human, if everybody out there has the Obama plan or the Trump plan or whatever they're calling it nowadays, to where you just pay a tiny little bit to cover you in some catastrophe, you're great. And that might be what you want to do for your dog. Get the 70% coverage and get the tiny deductible or the large deductible. Make your plan $30 a month, because as I said in a moment, I'm going to explain, I got plans that are as cheap as $30 a month for our dogs.
Yeah.
And then the high side, the plan was $70 a month.
Right.
So customize it the way you want so it fits your budget, because that's what really matters. You don't want to have to put your dog down or give up your dog to somebody just because you can't pay the vet bill. That's what this is supposed to be about.
And I'm sure that there are a lot of dogs in shelters that are there for that reason. Because somebody couldn't afford to take care of them.
Somebody's like, oh, my dog's got cancer, and
Yeah.
then they pawn it off to a shelter,
Right.
drop it off at their doorstep because they can't do anything
In
about
fact,
it.
you know, when we were talking about the most expensive dogs, when Rich and I first started looking for our first dog before we got Huey, I wanted either a Shar-Pei or an English Bulldog. I love the dogs with the wrinkles. So that's what we were looking for. But the only ones that we could find that we could afford were in shelters.
Yeah.
There were bulldogs that were wearing diapers because they were so traumatized by other people that
Yep.
they, you know, had no control of stuff. And you had crazy expensive medical bills to take on if you took that dog.
Yep, which we couldn't do.
Right.
So anyway, real quick, just to kind of give you guys an idea, I went and used Mama and Huey, and I pretended that they were their current age, and I pretended that they were their puppy age, like 4 months
Okay.
old. At FIGO, if I went with the 100% unlimited annual benefit, which, by the way, the deductibles were annual for both of these plans. I think you had one that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But 100% unlimited annual benefit with only a $500 deductible, 100% coverage was $150 a month for Huey. But it's because he's 10 years old.
Right.
He's going to have something go wrong probably in the next year or two. So that's where we need to decide, do we just put away the money into a saving? If we can, is it in our monthly budget, our family budget, to put away $150 a month? But if something happens to him even 15 months from now, we've only got $1,500, maybe $2,000. He's a surgery, a cancer is going to cost more than that, because Mama's surgery when she had the baby, her C-section was $3,000.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be able to save up whatever it was going to cost. So we might be hedging our bets by saying, oh, let's pay the $150 a month, and then when Huey does have something wrong, we're not paying it, or at least we're not paying.
Right.
We're only paying 30% of it instead of the whole bit. Now, if he was a puppy, his payment would only have been $32 a month. And some of these, when you put them in as a puppy, they lock the price. I saw some on the internet. I didn't talk to these two. Did not do that.
Yeah.
So if you get a puppy and it's only $30 a month, it's $30 a month for their life. So when they get older, yes, you paid a lot into that policy, but it's still only $30. Could you imagine only having $30 a month for Huey right now?
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like a savings plan. Again, if your budget can't fit a bunch of vet bills into it, maybe insurance is the better way to go. It's kind of like prepaying
Right.
for the catastrophe. Now, if we did the same thing with her, right now, 100% unlimited, $500 deductible, hers was only $74, but she's 7 years old, 6
Right.
years old, whatever.
Yeah.
If we did it when she was a puppy, hers was $42. Now, I did notice between FIGO and Healthy Paws, mixed breeds were more expensive, because they don't know what breeds have been mixed into them that had hereditary issues or anything like that. That's why the pug was cheaper. So if you have a purebred dog, it's more than likely going to be cheaper to insure a purebred dog than it would be a mixed breed.
Right.
Now, most everybody's probably got a mixed breed. But anyway, so with Healthy Paws, Huey was $152 a month. With his age, Healthy Paws would only give me a 50% reimbursement, and their deductible was $1,000. I didn't get to customize anything with him because of his age, but his payments would only be $110 a month, so about $45 cheaper.
Yeah.
But we only get 50%, as to where FIGO gave me 100%. Yes, it's $150 a month, but they're covering 100%.
Right. Yeah.
So
I did find Nationwide does up to 100%. So, depending on situations, like Rich mentioned with other ones, is the age and the size of the dog, the breed of the dog. They go by weight. You have to tell them how much the dog
Okay.
weighs currently and how old they are.
yeah,
all that
large
stuff.
breed, medium breed,
So,
they did
yes.
ask me that too.
Yeah. So, but when I did the calls, I didn't realize when I first started all this, like each dog, of course, has their own policy, just like in your
Yep.
family.
Yep.
Each dog has their own deductible and everything else. So when I called the guy, I called him as a customer, checking to see how much it would cost for our dogs. So, we went through 6 pets because we have 5 dogs and 1 cat. So that's what I did when I called Nationwide. And, I learned a lot from the guy just making the phone call. And, I'm not going to go because we have so many animals. I'm not going to go through all the quotes with you. But with Nationwide, one thing that I learned was that some of these insurance companies have a cap for age as far as what policies you can
Yes.
get. Okay. So with Nationwide, one of their cutoffs is age 9. Huey is 10 years old.
Okay.
So for him, I wouldn't be able to get the wellness package, but I would be able to get a medical package that only covers outside injuries. So like if he were to be hit by a car or if he got bit by a dog, something like that. But because of his age, they wouldn't cover if he got sick.
Then that insurance wouldn't be any good for us because he's a house dog. He
Right.
doesn't go out.
He
He's in
doesn't-
a fenced-in backyard.
But there would be a chance, being that we have 5 dogs, what if one of the other dogs bit him?
Yeah,
So,
our dogs
I
probably
mean,
wouldn't
but
do
yeah,
that.
so it wouldn't be beneficial for us with Huey, but the cost of that would only have been $9.
Well,
So, you just have to figure out what exactly it is that you want.
now, did you run into anything strange like waiting periods? Because
I
most
did.
of mine were active either like 24 hours after you paid or you submitted your health exam or things like that.
The 2 companies that I looked into, of course, I said Nationwide, and the other was Trupanion. And Nationwide said that, it started, like the regular policy would start, the wellness policy would start about 2 weeks after we, got everything started.
Okay.
And then, because they do want you to go for that, first exam and make sure they don't have any pre-existing conditions. And then the major medical plan, they had to be on it for a year
Wow.
before they covered 100%. But you also have to realize you have to pay a $250 deductible. So, unless something massive happens, it's still going to be covered.
But not for a year.
If something major in the major medical plan would only be covered after a year.
Oh.
But,
well, so like cancer or
right, yeah.
Okay.
Because, and more than likely, if it's, being diagnosed, then they probably had it within
Yeah.
that year time frame
okay.
or before.
So what about deductibles? All my deductibles were completely customizable. Did you run into anything as far as deductibles?
Trupanion had a deductible that you could calculate yourself and say
Okay.
that you could choose the plan whether you wanted a higher or lower deductible. Some of them it went as far as a 0 deductible for Huey. I just put him in on the Trupanion one, and for a 0 deductible though, even though he is 9 years old, I'd be paying $307.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What would that cover? What percent?
it covered 90%.
Okay.
And one thing with Trupanion, I don't know if you had that, but with Trupanion, if your vet has their software, you would be paid immediately. Instead of being reimbursed, they pay immediately.
I'm glad you said that because I almost forgot. There was a company. Yes, here, Figo. Check this out. I'm so glad you said. I cannot believe I almost forgot this. Figo has a social media app for your dog called Pet Cloud.
Oh.
Now, what it does, it's not just the social media app, it's also how you submit your claims, which with Figo, when you submit the claim to them, it's kind of like you said, where you pay up front, then they pay you back. Other companies might take weeks or days or whatever, but Figo, you submit the receipt and the claim in the app, they start the claim right there and then direct deposit you the money.
Okay.
So But not only that, but the social media part of it is they have in there your location. And if there's a pet friendly cafe or restaurant, they let you know that. And if there are other dogs on the app, they let you know, hey, Fido is 3.5 miles away at the local dog park. And you can link your dog up with friends in the app.
That's cool.
So that was really cool. But now I thought there was one, because I know when I was looking at these two companies, one of them mentioned, I thought it was one of the companies that you talked about, that the deductible wasn't an annual deductible. It was a per incident deductible.
That's Trupanion. Yes. They let's say that your dog has an ACL tear.
Okay.
And you go to the vet and it's, they diagnose it and then they tell you, we could do the surgery, which is going to cost you $3,000.
Okay.
You're going to pay your deductible that one time. And then anytime something happens with that ACL tear, whether it's a checkup or whether, they're getting their stitches out from the surgery or, I don't know if they charge you when you have to go back to get the stitches out. Most of the time I haven't had to pay, but, if something happens like they re-tear it, that's possible. You don't have to pay that deductible over again for that situation.
So it's
It
a
is
lifetime per situation, not an
deductible.
annual deductible.
Right. A lifetime deductible for that diagnosis.
So how does that work? Is the ACL deductible like $1,000 and a cherry eye deductible is $100, or is it just a flat deductible that is for each thing?
It depends on what policy you chose.
Okay, so everybody would have to go in and check their own policies.
Right. So I don't think I got Ivy's, but yeah. So for Huey, if he were to have an ACL tear, he does have some muscle issues. It's just it gets inflamed.
But that might be because of his weight, which we're working on.
Yeah.
He said he lost 9 pounds in the last month.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah. So if I chose the zero deductible, I'd be paying $307 a month. But if I chose $1,000 deductible, I'd pay $71 a month. But then that $1,000, if it was the same injury.
Oh, with Trupanion, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was $1,000 deductible and I paid that when he went, for the ACL tear and had surgery, I paid the $3,000. I met the $1,000 deductible. I'd get 90% reimbursed. And then I would never have to pay that $1,000 again if he had the same, anytime he had to go back related to that.
Okay. So in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it sounds like the two best companies to possibly go with is either Trupanion because of their unique deductible situation, but I would think Trupanion would only be best if you got that policy as a puppy.
Right.
Because then that deductible would have more likelihood of happening or being or actually being in your favor.
Yeah.
And the other one I think might be the one that I found, which is the FIGO, because they have the only one that has the ability to have 100% coverage. And they've got the social media app and the really cool way of getting paid back quickly through direct deposit.
Right.
Plus, they also had an unlimited out-of-pocket selection. You could do it as little as $5,000 out of pocket was your max, or an unlimited out of pocket. So, I think based on our information, those might be the two best companies for people to call.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Now, when you made these calls and when you went online, were they all available 24/7?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think I just happened to catch them at the right time.
Yeah, Nationwide and Trupanion were both.
Wow.
You could call them 24/7 and get quotes, or do your quote online, or call and ask questions or whatever. And yeah, they were very helpful. And which we also found out, some insurance companies will also give you a discount for having multiple pets. And also, if you go through your employer, you'd get another discount.
Wow.
So for us, because your employer goes through Nationwide, we would save, because we have so many animals. First, it's 5% savings if you have 2 animals, and then if you have 3 or more, you get 10%. So we would save 10% with the multiple animals, and then because his employer goes through Nationwide, we would get another 5% off.
So we can stack the discounts?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I don't like about Nationwide is that waiting period of 1 year.
Right. Yeah.
But if you have a puppy, Nationwide might be the way to go then,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Trupanion.
So, they are, like I said, you could go online, get your quotes that way. There's another program, which I know, car insurance and people health insurance, they all have programs like this. So this program is called Policy Advisor. It's PAWLICY
That's cute.
Advisor. So you can go to policy.com And they are a company that compares quotes and helps you make the right choice.
Okay. Well, hopefully you guys found this to be some good information. If you have any thoughts, if you have any questions, if you'd like us to search anything else for you, drop a comment in the YouTube video. Let us know, hey, what about this? Or what about hereditary issues? Most of my companies covered hereditary issues. Maybe some don't. I would suggest you go on their websites, you put in your information, and get the plan that's customizable to you. We are not insurance people. These are not sponsors. These just happen to be the people that we pulled, whether they like us giving out their information or not. I don't know. We're not professionals, but hopefully we gave you guys some good ideas. If you can't afford the insurance, try to put something into your budget where it may be in an envelope. We do the envelope system here. So maybe you have an envelope that says pet bills, and you just put $10, $20 a week, whatever you can afford into that envelope. And then 3 years from now, you've got 30% coverage maybe because you saved up 30% of that bill. And, maybe at that point the vet will work with you or, do some calling around. There are some places nowadays. We have one just over the border in Illinois that takes residents from Indiana or Illinois that is based on your income. So if you're not completely, in love with your vet and you're okay with switching, call around, see if some veterinarian offices will work with you as far as your income levels.
Yeah.
But definitely do something to make sure you take care of your pet because nobody wants to see their pet go to a shelter or be put down simply because
or even have to deal with the situation they're in.
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen some people whose dog has a big mass and you don't know if they're in pain. They can't tell you they're in pain.
Yeah, that's sad.
And they just have to deal with it because the people don't have the money to pay for it.
So again, on the YouTube video, throw something in the description even if it's just hi, so we know that you guys saw the video, and we appreciate if you would
don't forget about Pet of the Week.
Subscribe. Oh, well, that's next week. Yeah, that'd be Huey. So also, if you have a pet of the week, that's what we're looking for. Your pet could be the pet of the week that we talk about at the very beginning of the show. Send us an email, thebestdogpodcast@gmail.com. And if we choose your dog will be at the beginning of the show. And, hey, by then we might have some sponsors or some gifts to give away to the pet of the week.
Yeah. Our pet of the week decided to get on the floor and go to sleep.
Yeah, she didn't like being up in the spotlight. She's aggressive, but she's shy. Figure that one out. So I'm Rich.
I'm Amy.
And this was the Best Dog Podcast.